Over 80% of our viewers aren't subscribed, so if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe as we continue to look to grow the channel. Quietly, the Airbus A380's production ended in 2021, and North America was one of the biggest regions that the aircraft really struggled to get a grasp in. The plane never took off or reached the heights of how it performed in the Middle East. In North America, it was also largely absent from Canadian airline Air Canada, an airline that did once fly the Boeing 747. Why is this exactly? Let's begin with the goal of the world's largest passenger plane. The idea was to create an aircraft for extensive and long-range journeys, also ones that were high density. At the same time, Airbus believed the aircraft would work in locations such as New York, London, and more major hubs for airlines, focusing also on airports with limited capacity that may need added seats per flight. While we could make a video highlighting the purpose of the aircraft, that can definitely be something for another day. Unlike British Airways, Emirates, Qatar Airways, China Southern, Thai Airways, and many more operators of the Airbus A380, Air Canada doesn't feature a single central hub. Instead, the airline is spread across Canada, with international services departing from multiple cities. While profitable for the airline, and of course beneficial to the network. One thing this route network wouldn't work with is the Airbus A380. To operate the A380, Air Canada would need flights filled every single time to reap the rewards and profits from flying the plane. However, Air Canada by no means would have been aided by an airline like, say, Emirates, who fly the A380 into cities within Canada. Even British Airways. Competition with that would prove very tricky. Air Canada once flew the Queen of the Skies. However, unlike most major carriers, they chose to retire the 747 far earlier, with the last 747 departing towards the back end of 2004. At this point, the flag carrier began moving towards the Airbus A340. However, at the same time, they were under the realization that quad-engine planes were on the way out, noticing that twin-engine planes were the aircraft of the future, like your Boeing 787s. For most global airlines, the large capacity of both the 747 and even primarily the Airbus A380 can be too high. The A380, as intended by the European plane maker, works on specific services to particular airports, and therefore with specific airline business models. Those business models never really tied in with an airline like Air Canada, so it is easier for them to fill smaller aircraft like the 787 or the 777 nowadays and operate them on the same services that people suggest an A380 could have been deployed on. These smaller aircraft also offer far more flexibility depending on the airport they're flying into. For example, they can time their flights to link up with Star Alliance partners or further connections with airlines to Canadian cities. Tying back into the discussion surrounding the idea that the A380 works with major hubs, this is not something that typically occurs in the United States. While yes, major US carriers will have hubs, they will also have a presence at airports across the country. So, for an example, it's not like Emirates that calls Dubai their only home, or Qatar Airways that calls Doha their only home. Several factors have ultimately contributed to the airline not featuring the Airbus A380, from capacity to economic viability, to the business model of Air Canada, and how the purpose of the aircraft doesn't really suit operations in North America. Now though, it's over to you. Would you like to have seen Air Canada fly the Airbus A380 at some point during their life? Or do you believe Air Canada made the right decision to not move forward with such a large plane for their operations, and at the end of the day are benefiting more by utilizing the 787 and the 777 for these flights? Let us know down below in the comments. We wanted to thank you very much for your continued support here on the channel, and we hope you very, very much enjoy the content to come.